We're going to start. Matt, are you on?
I am, yeah.
Okay, I guess the way we're going to do this is you're going to open the meeting and then I'll just kind of run it from here. Okay.
Sorry, I just had to mute the audience. We do have Rob Howard on mute right now, and he is joining us by phone, along with Vice Chair Mathis. I believe Commissioner Gleesberg is not here.
Now my microphone is on. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to call the meeting order. The attendance has been reflected. So right now, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting. Yeah. Okay, we'll get the technical. Are we good?
I think we're good now, so if you want to entertain the motion, I'm ready for everybody.
I'm looking for a motion to approve the last meeting.
I'll move to approve those minutes.
Okay. All right, so Josh made the motion. Stephen will second it. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. And I'm going to assume that Matt and Rob, if they want to dissent, they can chime in. Okay. All right. So I'm looking for my agenda. So what, let me see. You have a copy of just the, for some reason I don't have just the agenda items on there. Okay, roll call, approve action minutes. Public communications, do we have any public communications?
We don't have any public communications off the agenda.
Okay. So we're going to review the revised fiscal year 2020-21 Measure X spending plan and the 7-year draft spending plan. And I guess, Michael, you're going to do that for us. So the Assistant City Manager, Michael Grossman, will make a presentation.
All right, thank you. Committee Member Kern, members of the committee, Michael Gossman, Assistant City Manager. I'm going to keep this brief, partly because of the technical difficulties, but really this is a recap of what we presented to you back earlier this year. Do a quick overview of Measure X, an overview of the revised fiscal year 2021 spending plan, and then make a recommendation to the committee. So on November 6th, 2018, Oceanside voters approved Measure X, which increased the sales tax rate by 0.5%. This went into effect April 1st, 2019. The half-cent sales tax revenue is slated for enhanced police and fire services, improved infrastructure and roads, and homeless assistance. Measure X also specified that a Citizens Oversight Committee would be appointed to advise the council and review spending plans, and that is why we're here today. So the revised spending plan is a result of the COVID-19 impacts that we've had on our both projected and actualized Measure X revenues. Overall, relative to the original plan that we presented to you earlier this year, we're projecting $1.15 million less. As such, we've reduced spending by $1.6 million, and I'll go over the details of what those reductions included next. So the 1.15 is really both a reduction in what we saw this year versus what we projected in year one, or fiscal year 1920, because of the shutdown and everything that we've seen, and another $755,000 less that we're projecting in year two. Now, those projections are done by HDL, which is a reputable company that many, if not almost all cities within California and counties use to do those projections. They're really meticulous about their projections, and they, on some level, it's a guess because we don't know what's coming, but they use the best information that we had, and that's what we base it on. So the way that we came to the $1.6 million in reductions, in part it was the homeless hiring project, or homeless hiring program was removed from the project list. We had submitted an RFP and we received no responses to that RFP. The South Strand Rehabilitation Project construction has been delayed, so that's not to say that it's off the list, but that spending will not take place next year. Peer View Bridge Rehabilitation Project, funding was reduced by $2.5 million. Again, this is just a result of grant funding and other things that we'd received. And then the Buccaneer Beach Park Facilities Study was delayed for 1 year as well. We were also, as I'd mentioned the last time, we were able to find outside funding sources for the homeless social worker, beachfront improvement grant project, $7.8 million, which will reduce the Measure X need by $4 million. And then staff continues to aggressively pursue grant opportunities to stretch those Measure X dollars as far as they'll go. So we also had some increased projects for year two. This included downtown information technology enhancements. That's one-time money for $500,000 for cameras and data storage systems. The purpose of this is to deter crime and assist in investigations in the downtown area. We had another $300,000 slated for fire equipment to enhance emergency response needs and enhance emergency response for lifeguards, firefighters, and paramedics. And then, different from what we saw the last time we talked to you, we also allocated an additional $1 million to repaving and road repairs. Another thing that we bring to you besides the year-to-year spending plan is the 7-year overall expenditure plan. The spending plan includes, for the 7-year duration of Measure X that goes through 2026, it anticipates the continuance of the public safety and homelessness programs, includes cost escalators and completion of the infrastructure improvements initiated during year one. The total cost to complete these items is estimated to be $84.4 million, which is fully covered by the anticipated revenue. So the next steps would be to ask that you support this so that it can go to City Council budget hearing on June 3rd, and then we would bring another report back to you for the annual review on December 17th, 2020. And lastly is this chart, which reflects the difference between what our original year two plan was versus what our revised year two plan is, reflecting that reduction in overall revenue. I'm available to answer any questions, as well as we have department heads from throughout the city that have projects related to Measure X here to answer any questions as well.
Okay, we're still having technical difficulties. Chief McCoy texted me that he's lost audio, and so did Rob Howard. So, Michael, how are we doing with that? Oh, are we back online? 1 minute. Okay, we are now. So hopefully Rob and...
The presenter has muted the audience. You've been muted. The presenter has muted the audience. You cannot unmute yourself at this time. The presenter has allowed participants to unmute themselves. You can now unmute yourself by pressing *6. You are no longer muted. You've been muted. To unmute yourself, press *6.
Okay. Chief
You are
said
no
he's,
longer muted.
Chief says he's good. Rob, if you're on, can you say something? I think Rob left the meeting. Did Rob leave the meeting? Okay, all right. Well, let's go forward. I can hear, Chief can hear now. Okay, so this is, hopefully we're all good to go. So I'm sorry, we kind of got sidetracked there. What were you asking? Or were they going to talk, or did you ask for questions from us?
Yeah, if you have any questions about this revised spending plan.
Oh, no, I don't. Josh, Steve, Matt, do you have any questions?
We do have public on this item.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and put public.
Okay. The city clerk's office received one email today, and this individual wanted their comments read into the record. This is from Diane Nygaard. Honorable Chair and Commissioners, I appreciate that the city is reconsidering Measure X expenditures in light of the unusual circumstances that we all find ourselves in. As you review this spending plan, please consider the following. How can these expenditures support our local economy? Construction projects help create jobs. What can be expedited? Investment should be in sustainable projects, helping move us to a new, greener economy where future job growth is actually possible and where long-term costs to the city are reduced. City projects should meet the highest standards for building electrification, use of renewable energy, etc. The Water Utilities Department has been achieving LEED Platinum standards in their new construction. That is a worthy goal. Expenditures should be strategic. How can we best leverage our local sales tax dollars? Which projects on the long-term list are best positioned to capture funds from other sources? We can't do them all, so you would need to make some choice. For those where we have the opportunity to secure other funds, what work needs to be done now to best position ourselves for those funds? Do not substitute use of these funds to make up for city budget shortfalls. What provisions are in place to make sure that does not happen? We will face serious budget shortfalls, but that is not what Measure X is supposed to be used for. The 7 years of Measure X funding needs to be combined with robust city efforts to address structural issues with our city budget. Hopefully you can help make that happen. Thank you, Diane Nygaard. And this concludes the public comment, and the full comment will be made available on the city's website and distributed to committee members.
Okay, thank you. Do you wish to address that question about basically substituting funds, or are we going to?
I would just allow the comment to stand, and then if any committee members have any concerns, they can ask specific to that, yeah. If you had a specific question regarding that or would like us to respond, I think that City Manager Lorson would probably be able to respond quickly to that one.
So community members, Deanna Lorson, City Manager. So the budget before you only spends money in accordance with the priorities that were identified in the Measure X measure. No funds are allocated from Measure X towards general city expenditures. We do note that we have about a $3.5 million surplus for the next fiscal year in Measure X. That is planned for spending in future years, but we have projects in the design phase. We need to save that money for when they're ready for construction. If there became a dire financial need, those funds could be redirected, but we're not proposing that at this time. We do not feel that that is a necessity for the city at this time. But ultimately, Measure X are general fund dollars that could be used for other general fund purposes should we find ourselves in a dire situation, 6 months from now. At this point, we are not planning that, and we would note the comment and the concern from the member of the public. We do agree. However, ultimately, we need to preserve our ability to provide services to the community.
Okay. So I'm going to pause here. Is there any questions from my colleague, Stephen?
Yeah. Just to clarify what you said, and for the person who took the time to write the letter, if there is down the road some dire need to move that money, we would go through the same process. So it would be noticed publicly. We would then come back to the committee. Recommendations would be made one way or the other, and then it would go to the council. It wouldn't just be a time to where it's moved without anyone knowing, and then people, the public, having to go look for it, correct?
Committee member, correct. There would be a public process for that to happen. The committee would be presented with a recommendation. Ultimately, the city council would be the decision maker should that occur, but it would all be done in a public process.
Okay. Josh, you good? Matt or Rob, do you have any questions?
Yeah, this is Rob. I have a question, or I'll go after Rob.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go out.
Okay, Rob, you go first, and then we'll take Matt.
Okay, I got kicked off right after they started, and I was trying to get in through Skype, got in on the phone, so I'm just now catching up, and it's really hard when the other speakers speak to hear, because I was putting the info in the chat, and I couldn't get in, but I don't think anybody's monitoring that. So I just wanted to give my status that I basically missed everything up until about a minute ago.
Okay. But did you receive your packet for the slides? Basically, that's what the, go ahead.
No, I have the packet with the report.
Okay, that was the presentation, so you didn't really miss anything there. I think the only thing you may have missed was the public comment from Ms. Nygaard, basically not to use Measure X fund as a backstop for other city funds, and I think the city manager addressed that.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Are we good?
Yeah, and what I'll do is, as we have other questions, I'll wind up just following up with I don't want to hold this up because this is really cumbersome. I'll follow up with the city manager and ask questions and CC everybody.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Matt, you're up.
Great, thanks. I was in the same boat as Rob, so I'm kind of catching up as well. My question was if what Mike had just gone over was just the staff report for the funding, correct?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a staff report, yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so I did have one question in there. When it talks about the Pierview Bridge rehab with lifeguard headquarters, it shows that there's a reduction of 2.5 million. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And is that 2.5 million coming out of the Pierview rehab portion or the lifeguard headquarters portion? And my concern is after going down and walking through the lifeguard facilities and seeing, you know, the water dripping through the inside of the windows and things like that, I'm just hoping that we're not reallocating money away from the lifeguard facilities and that maintains its status as a priority to get working on.
So committee members, that is a combined project. The lifeguard headquarters are part of the overall Pierview Bridge, and we will make any short-term improvements necessary to allow the lifeguard headquarters to continue to function, but ultimately we can't remodel and redo the lifeguard headquarters until the overall project is considered. The funding that was allocated is within the estimated range of costs, but at this point we do not have enough information. Construction is too far out to accurately project what the true construction costs are. We had a little more money allocated to it, but we recognize that likely by the time we get to construction, we will need to find other funding sources in order to complete the project. But nonetheless, it is one combined project, and we will address any short-term needs of the lifeguard headquarters independently of Measure X.
Okay.
Wonderful. That answers my question with that. The only other point I had was just more of a point of personal privilege, but I don't know if that's necessary right now or if we roundtable at the end.
Go ahead and make it. We're pretty informal today,
Yeah.
so we're just flying by the seat of our pants. Go ahead, Matt, make your comment.
Great. I just wanted to give kudos to sending out the capital improvement project information. I think that is a lot of times when we're going around the horn asking about questions of needing to support parks or support streets or whatever the case is, it's great to see and have in hand what the city's already doing and prioritizing, because it takes the onus off of us of trying to, advocate for those things when they're already being advocated for. So I just really wanted to say thanks for that. In addition, the items that I had brought up last meeting with the missing paved area on the sidewalk that was becoming a liability hazard has been taken care of. So thank you guys for that. And also the red light, putting a delay in the red light of the at Morse and Coast Highway has made a huge difference. So just really wanted to say thanks, being receptive to the input, and getting to see the projects that are already in the hopper moving forward. So thank you guys.
All right, thank you. So any other comments? I was just going to make a couple of quick comments before we move on. To address Ms. Nygaard's concern, that was a concern from the beginning about Prop X money backfilling city money, and so I'm sure the committee's been pretty hawkish about protecting Prop X money to go to the projects that were promised in the vote. As far as local allocation of projects, that is a city council decision. That is not ours. So, write your city council member and about how you're going to direct the money, but that is not our purview here to pick contractors. So we'll go with that. Other than that, I think the only thing, and just to follow up on Matt's comment about the bridge, we haven't taken the lifeguard or the bridge out of the projections.
No.
We've just kind of shelved it for now. Because I just noticed on your presentation, some of them have been delayed, but you kind of pointed out that this is eliminated. So, I think that was Matt's concern, and that is also a concern of mine.
Yeah, it is not eliminated. We reduced the overall projection of the cost, recognizing that we may need, there's the stage at which the estimation is in isn't, the resolution isn't fine enough to know exactly what it's going to cost. So we reduced the overall expense from Measure X, recognizing that to complete the project, we'll need funding from somewhere else. But that's not to say that it's eliminated.
Okay.
That is correct. I would also add that we do have an active contract of engineering assessment that is going to help us inform the rehabilitation project and get to full design drawings. But it's too early in the process to know exactly what that construction cost would be. And then separately, Ms. Nygaard also mentioned just infrastructure being important for job creation. The city has prepared a comprehensive list of shovel-ready projects and short-term projects that could be funded with stimulus funds should there be any forthcoming from the state or federal government as a result of the current emergency. And we are priming ourselves to be prepared to take advantage of that.
Okay, thank you. So any additional comments? Matt, Rob? No?
For me, it's not on the budget piece, but I would like, again, I appreciate the information about how responsive the city has been to our requests for information or clarity. I do want to, following the meeting, to follow up, and if staff can help with setting the meeting up, talk to chief and police chief to follow up on the homeless outreach team to see how they're connecting with other services to enhance the ability to address homelessness through the outreach team.
Okay, all right, thank you. We'll look forward to those emails. So with that, I guess I'm looking for a motion to approve the staff recommendation. Stephen? Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we have motion second, so please vote. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to do a roll call on, Matt, are you in agreement with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Rob?
Yes.
Okay, then the rest of us will just raise our hand. So it's unanimous that way. So I think we're...
Motion approved, 502 with Chair O'Hara and Committee Member Gleesberg absent.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I guess I'm going to adjourn to December 17th, 2020 at 2 o'clock in the council chambers. Hopefully, one or two things will happen. Either we'll all be back together, or we'll have this thing wired to the point that it'll be second nature of us being online. Just a quick comment. I've been doing these calls every day with the community engagement panel with San Onofre. So we're getting to the point that it becomes second nature for us. So the idea that so this is a learning curve. I'm sure IT has done a tremendous job, and Zeb's done a good job. And like I said, I watched the city council meeting last time, and how it worked out was pretty well. They had a couple glitches, but it worked out fairly well. So thank you. So with that, without objection, I'm going to adjourn the meeting till December 17th.